Here we have the Enviro chip burner. It's burning right now. See minimal smoke coming out of it. It's got a nice size hopper or a nice size bin with an agitating floor that keeps the chips from bridging inside the bin. Has a lid that opens and closes, so you can run this all outside. You fill it with your skid loader or front end loader, whatever you might have. It's 6 foot in diameter, so there's lots of room to dump the chips in there. The lid would come down and keep the snow and rain and what have you from in it. There's an inspection window. The heavy duty drive system, it actually has a 1/2 horsepower 3-phase 220 motor. It's driven with an inverter, a VFD that takes single phase power and changes it to 3-phase 220. Heavy duty gearbox, a cast iron gearbox, very heavy quality. There's a secondary output shaft off of the gearbox that actually drives the rotating agitator in the bottom of the bin. The 4-inch pipe that you see there has an auger in it, a screw auger that augers the chips into the burn head. This is the ash auger motor that we're seeing here now. It has an on-off switch. Where we see the universal coming to the agitator gearbox, heavy duty gearbox. Special design for this kind of application. Again, the ash motor for driving the ashes out, and the gearbox pushing the ashes out the front end of the boiler. Very good quality paint job in the tank. We're going to go around to see the blower motor and the air injection system. It's a fully enclosed ball bearing motor, capacitor started, thermally protected. It blows the combustion air into the burn chamber. We can adjust the amount of air this blower is getting. It's a squirrel cage fan by opening and closing that damper there. Everything is pre-wired to this junction box at the back of the stove, and some BX wires to connect the stoker drive. There we see the viewing window for your level of chips. You can see from the ground level. We get a little idea what the chips look like. The lid opens and closes very easily with the unique handle design that you can open and close that lid quite easily. Chips, 3 inches longer or better. Ideal chips are going to be anything that goes through a 2-inch screen. I believe these are ground up pallets that we're burning at the moment. We've been burning even pine chips from ground up pine trees to various different types of ground up materials. There'd be no reason you couldn't burn corn stover or a variety of fuels in there. It's our electrical control center under that gray box. Here's our fire. The chips are being pushed into the what we call the burn head here. Air is introduced along the burn head. Easy to open and close door. Easy to open access heat exchanger door. These bottom 10 tubes are 2 inches in size. The heat and gases have to come to the front through these 10 tubes, do 180 and go to the back. You can see there's no smoke coming out of that door there when it's open. That's where the smoke would come, if it was smoking, would come out of there. Just as really little bit you might see of steam there. This unit is heating a greenhouse and a home. Middle of the winter, we've had a few cold days and it's done quite well. Float water level indicator. You can see the water level from a distance. You see it bob up and down as he touched it. Here we have the electrical control panel. It's in a weatherproof box, easy to access. We have the VFD frequency drive controller. It takes in 110 power and out of it comes 3-phase 220 to drive the system. Very economical on power, very low electrical consumption, It's at 169 degrees on the A419 Johnson Control Aquastat. The middle control is a high limit. It's again Johnson Control. If the water temperature gets over the 200 degrees or gets close to boiling, everything has to shut down. We have overloads for the stoker and the fan. If the stoker was to get jammed up, the fan has to stop too. There's also a Omron timer that every few minutes it comes on and burns for a few seconds. The unit is Warnock Hershey approved for coal burning. We've been using the same controller and boiler for coal burning for years. Real little workhorse for coal or pellets. For pellets, you don't need this agitating bin. You would just use a hopper bottom bin, and this same burner would work quite well with a hopper bottom bin burning pellets, wood pellets or grass pellets, any dry pellets. Here we see the fire again. Keep in mind it's a continuous fire. It's inside a round fire pot. There's fire tubes going across inside the fire pot that catches more heat. That's what you're seeing there. There's three 3-inch pipes going across. It's a water jacketed, water tubed, water baffle. There's a water baffle at the far back. The fly ashes get caught by the baffle at the back of the stove and fall down and get augered out by the ash auger through the ash pit here. Fire is directed towards the front to go over top of the tubes. Here we see the ash auger taking the ashes out of the front end of the stove. You can put them into a pit or a container or whatever you might have fit. This installation was done in the middle of the winter, so there's no pit or ash container set up at the moment. Would be something that would be advisable. Again, you see no smoke coming out of the stack. Thank you for taking the time